Today on Legally Yes, Prince Harry sues British tabloids as Bethenny Frankel takes on TikTok. Plus, a judge rules that Heche's son Homer can oversee her estate for now. And Cheryl, Burke, and Matthew Lawrence are headed to court over custody of their dog. We've got that plus so much more on today's Legally Yes. Well, welcome to Legally Yes. I'm Christina. That's, of course, Neama Rahmani, former federal prosecutor and president of West Coast Trial Lawyers. Hi, Neama. How are you?
Hi, Christina. How's it going?
Good, good. We have a lot of news to get to today. So we got to kick it off with Prince Harry because he has joined forces with Elton John, Elizabeth Hurley, and more high-profile celebrities because they have filed a lawsuit against UK tabloid publishers accusing them of conducting unlawful acts for profit. So they accused Associated Newspapers, the publishers of the Daily Mail, Mail on Sunday, and Mail Online of invading privacy. So this is kind of crazy. So court documents state that these individuals have become aware of compelling and highly distressing evidence that they have been the victims of abhorrent criminal activity and gross breaches of privacy by Associated Newspapers. They said that these publications have allegedly hired private investigators to secretly place listening devices inside people's cars and homes. They paid off corrupt police officers for inside scoops and personal information, impersonated others to gain access to medical records, and used manipulation to view financial histories, among other accusations. So these celebrities have said this is actually just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the business's reprehensible and illicit behavior. This is pretty intense. So how can these celebrities prove that the tabloids have gone to these extreme lengths to get the story?
Well, Christina, the press and media in the UK, they're very aggressive, much more than here in the United States. So what the celebrities and the royals are going to do is they're going to present evidence just like any other case. And obviously they have security, so that can be witness testimony. There's going to be video surveillance. If any unauthorized material, whether it's financial or medical, was accessed, there's going to be a digital trail as well. So they're going to try to set forth this evidence to show that these tabloids were breaking the law there in the UK.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what do you think that we don't know what they're seeking exactly, but what do you believe they are seeking from these tabloids?
Well, sometimes you file lawsuits to get money, and sometimes you do so to send a message. I don't think Harry or Elton John or Elizabeth Hurley need the money, but they want to send a message to these tabloids that they're not going to be pushed around. So sometimes you take a preemptive strike like this, you go on the offense to prevent these types of tactics from happening.
All right. So Harry has obviously he's had a long history with the press. He has sued tabloids in the past and has had mixed success. But now that more celebrities are involved, will that help this case?
Certainly, to the extent that there's a pattern and there's other folks that are being targeted, that's going to help the prince's case. Of course, he feels that he and his wife, Meghan, have been treated unfairly by the British press. So this type of litigation, and it can be anyone from Prince Harry to our former president, this can be used as a weapon to teach the press a lesson. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think the tabloids' defense will be in this case?
Well, they're going to say that this is newsworthy. You're a public figure. And when you put yourself out in the public, whether you're a celebrity or you're a royal, you're entitled to less privacy than someone that isn't a celebrity. So they're going to argue that this is all newsworthy. This is all fair game. And they're just reporting on folks who have already put themselves out there.
Yeah. In your opinion, who do you think is going to come out on top?
I think the celebrities will come out on top if they can prove these invasions of privacy. Having someone put recording devices in your vehicle, access your private information. If all that's true, that's unlawful. It doesn't matter what country you're in.
Interesting. We'll have to wait and see. And other things that are getting messy. So Heche's ex, James Hooper, he was denied a petition to become his son Atlas's guardian. So the ruling also denied James's petition that would allow the actor to have control over his 13-year-old son's portion of Anne's estate until he turns 18. So a rep for Homer Heche, who is Anne Heche's oldest son, said in a statement to Us Weekly, "We are pleased but not surprised with the court's ruling this morning, denying James's petition to appoint himself guardian ad litem for Atlas. We look forward to the court resolving Homer's petition at the next hearing. And in the meantime, Homer will continue to diligently administer the estate pursuant to his authority as a special administrator." So Homer initially filed for control over his mother's estate in September, with James attempting to reject the petition on behalf of Atlas's primary guardian. So in the legal documents, 1 month after her death, James claimed that Homer is not suitable for the appointment to hold this estate because of his age and lack of income. So this is getting pretty messy. So why was this petition denied, since James is Atlas's father?
There's so much going on here, Christina, but really one of the biggest issues is that James and Anne, they were never married. So as far as the law is concerned, I mean, he's a baby daddy, but that's really it. He is Atlas's father, and that's it. And Anne reportedly died without a will. There was some question of whether there was this electronic email will, but that's not enough under California law. You need it to be signed. You need 2 witnesses. So Anne Heche's estate is going to go equally to her 2 children, Homer, who's an adult, and Atlas, who's a child. And as far as the executor, Homer is the next of kin. James is not. And that's why we're dealing with this issue here.
Yeah. And I believe James said that Omar wasn't able to perform his duties because he wasn't attending grief counseling with his brother. He argued that he's not acting in his brother's best interests because he wasn't allowing him to go to Anne's apartment to clean out his things. I mean, you know, it just seems like a messy situation. And Homer also didn't show up to the court case when this was all going down. So who do you think? Do you think Omar is able to do this? Is he suitable to hold the estate?
Well, James made those arguments, but the judge rejected them, and rightfully so. The judge said, listen, you don't have to even be literate to be an executor of an estate. So all these requirements that you're asking for, grief counseling, having a good relationship with your brother, attending college, none of that matters. Are you qualified or are you disqualified to be the executor of the estate? And frankly, I don't know how much money this estate's going to have. We know that there's going to be claims against the estate because, of course, there was a lot of property damage when Anne Heche died, and those are going to be creditors. So they're going to come after the estate for the money to repair both the building and everything that Anne Heche damaged before she was killed.
Yeah, I believe that I read that she had $400,000 at the time of her death. So yes, a large amount of money, but maybe not as much as people may think with, since she was a celebrity. I know that she had a book deal in the works at the time of her death, and that's still going to be published. So they may get royalties from that. But yeah, it's definitely a sad situation. But in your opinion, does it seem like James is kind of coming after the money?
Potentially, yes, because, he doesn't have any right to any portion of the estate because, again, they were not married. Mm-hmm. Really, Atlas does. And the question is James acting for his son's best interest, or is he really trying to act on his own behalf? And he just doesn't have any rights aside from Atlas's relationship with his mom.
Interesting. All right. Well, let's move on to Bethenny Frankel because she is suing TikTok in a class action lawsuit claiming the site misused her image and likeness. So according to court documents obtained by Us Weekly, she is seeking compensation for significant damages to her business and reputation, as well as broad changes to impose stricter regulations regarding TikTok's advertising. After a video she created was allegedly reposted for an untrustworthy ad without her consent, she requested a trial by jury where the amount of damages can be officially determined. Through her lawsuit, she is urging the platform to better protect creators and their content in any form, including without limitation, images, videos, text, and audio created and published on social media and other channels from being misused and misrepresented. A spokesperson for TikTok, meanwhile, defended the platform's efforts, saying we have strict policies to both protect people's hard-earned intellectual property and keep misleading content off TikTok. We regularly review and improve our policies and processes in order to combat increasingly sophisticated fraud attempts and further strengthen our systems. So once you post something to TikTok, like Bethenny has, numerous times, does TikTok technically own the content then? And do they have a right to use this image?
So the issue here is someone else mistakenly or unlawfully used Bethenny's image, right? And TikTok generally has immunity in these types of cases. It's well established under Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act that social media platforms and internet companies like Google, Meta, TikTok, they are immune from what their users are posting. So Bethenny may have filed a lawsuit against TikTok, but I fully expect TikTok to file a motion to dismiss and that motion to be granted.
Okay. And so why is Bethenny requesting a trial by jury then?
Well, she may be able to get damages for the poster, the person who actually used her image without authorization. But I don't think that TikTok will remain a party in the case. Of course, we've talked about she might be able to subpoena them for user information, subscriber information to get all that. But as far as damages from TikTok, I don't think that's going to happen here.
Got it. So why didn't she just go after the user that used her image inappropriately?
I know she's getting bad legal advice, or she's trying to send a political message, because a lot of people have criticized this law over the years, and it can be conservatives or liberals. They think it's not fair that social media companies have this immunity. But as far as the law that's currently on the books, they have immunity. So unless that changes in Congress and it's signed by the president, I expect that immunity to continue.
Right. Do you feel like this has done significant damages to her business?
It may have, absolutely. Yeah. And the question people have is, look, how come I can't hold these social media companies responsible for what's on their platform? And it can be anything from Twitter to Facebook and everything in between. But at least as far as the law is concerned right now, Bethenny Frankel doesn't have any claim against the media company.
So, I mean, if Bethenny does win this case, which it doesn't sound like, how does it help or hurt creators and the platform?
Well, it certainly will help, because you always want to go after the deep pocket, right? Mm-hmm. This could be someone in some other country that you're never going to be able to get money from. And you have TikTok, even though it's a Chinese company, they obviously have offices here in the United States, and they have an ability to pay. Now, when you have a company like that, if you can hold them responsible, notwithstanding the law that's currently on the books, that's going to go a long way for creators that have people misusing their likeness and their image.
Interesting. All right. Well, let's move on to Cheryl Burke, because she is going to court with her ex-husband, Matthew Lawrence, over custody of their dog. Now, this is taking place in January, but she said on her podcast, "I'm still really hurt by the whole situation because that is my dog. Isabella is my daughter. I am a dog mom. I couldn't even imagine my life without her. I could just cry right now." Now, court documents have stated that the court expressly reserves jurisdiction for later determination of the issue of the ownership of the dog. On May 20th, 2019, petitioner and respondent entered into a premarital agreement. The agreement is valid and enforceable in all respects, and neither party challenges the validity of the premarital agreement. So when it comes to custody of pets, does this work similarly to custody of children?
Not at all, Christina. And I know people don't want to hear this, and I'm a dog lover too, but under California law, dogs are treated as property, no different from a bag or a car. So there's not going to be joint custody or visitation. It's property, just like any other inanimate object, at least under the eyes of the law.
Interesting. So how do you kind of figure out whose property is whose then?
So Isabella, if she was bought before the marriage, then that would be separate property, and Cheryl would have a good case. If and again, I'm using it just under the legal term, if the dog was bought during the marriage, then the question is, was it a gift? Was it similar to jewelry or any other type of gift that may be given from one spouse to another? If it wasn't given as a gift, then it's considered community property, and that's going to be much more challenging to split. It's not like a house where you can sell and divide the proceeds.
Ooh, so it seems like, since it's moving forward, it seems like it is communal property then in this situation.
Probably. And that's the default under the law here in California. If it wasn't bought before the marriage and it wasn't specifically intended to be a gift, then it belongs to the community, the husband and wife. So the question is, how can you split a dog? You certainly can't handle the situation with every other weekend or visitation or custody issues like you can with children.
Right. So it's pretty much up to Cheryl and Matthew to figure this out, of who eventually will get, full custody. And it's up to them if they want to divvy up visitation rights and things like that as well.
Absolutely. This is something that, is going to be treated like any other piece of property that's in the estate. And hopefully Cheryl and Matthew can do the right thing for Isabella, because the court's really not going to get involved with something like this like they would when there's children involved.
Oh, that makes me so sad. Hopefully they work it out.
I hope so too.
I know, right? Well, Neama, thank you so much for breaking this all down for me and for all of our viewers. I love getting your insight and expertise each and every week. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Christina. I'll see you next week.
For more news, content, and exclusive interviews, make sure to hit the sub, like, and bell button down below and visit usmagazine.com.